This is the Code Mage. This is building a fantasy console in C#. I think this is my 7th stream. I know I'm doing a lot of them all in a row, but I've got the time on my hands now, so I'm kind of doing it. Where I left off in the last stream is I have kind of built out the shell of what I want to do for interacting with files. I still have some work to put into this here, but this is coming through. I've realized after I finished up the last stream and was sitting there thinking about this stuff's getting really messy, so I think this particular FC360 will be a prototype kind of proof of concept of what I want to do. And what it's going to do is really capture the requirements and all the things that I need to actually put together to build this thing. And I'll make a second time through where I really take all of those things and think about them in better detail and come back and actually put them together in a very clean way. And so this is, I'm just going to be hacking this whole time. So it feels good though. Sometimes you just got to get it out. All right, so what we left off trying to do was when we get into the root menu, there's a list of games that come in, and you get those game files. Now, the game files themselves right now, just this is where I've got them. So what I kind of need to decide is how I'm going to store this on the physical hard drive. Do I put them all... Are they just loose files with a particular extension that I'm searching for? What does that kind of look like? Or do I put them all in one file and then segregate them out so you have like a virtual hard disk? I think the easiest thing to do would be to use the actual file system itself. I think one of the struggles with that are the naming of the files will be a little bit tricky. But I don't know. Well, let's just give it a go. So one of the things to get that all put together, though, is we also have to look at when we create a game. It gets loaded here. There's no data associated with it, but I think as soon as this needs to actually create it, or maybe I need to within the file system here. What I could do is treat the game loader like that. This actually just creates the file, and then what it does is it kills itself and runs not the game menu with what's loaded, but it'll actually run the game loader. So everything funnels through the game loader. I think that's probably the best bet here. So we're going to change the way this works. I will need to find a way to send over to load the initial mode to edit through the game loader itself, but yeah. So we have here the game name. We need to do sysfs write file, something like that. And start will just be a clear byte array. And I might not want to actually do this where I put things in and out of raw byte arrays or stuff like that, because it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Well, anyways. So the thing about writing files too, and the way that I've constructed this is it's not a synchronous activity, it's an asynchronous activity. But that has to be that way by design, I think. And I've realized that these drivers aren't really drivers. These are really the API type thing. So driver in this system, what happens is you your program will trigger an interrupt that will then, based on the interrupt code, the operating system will load or the CPU will load a driver or redirect the code to a driver and run that code in the driver to actually do the exchange of the application data to the device or whatnot. So they're really more like what's happening on the other side here is that the drivers. But anyways, so this will be the write file, which is just going to return an empty promise. That I'm going to need to wait for. Just use a byte as a unit type thing for now. I'm not sold on this necessarily, but I do like this idea of using promises to basically handle, instead of callbacks, to handle how you interact with what should be an asynchronous process. I mean, there's no reason it has to be asynchronous. I just want it to be structured that way. I could make this so that I simplify this whole thing and there's no intermediary buffer. There's no file buffer that I'm reading and writing in and out of. This could theoretically just go directly to the file system. And I don't actually do it this way. But that's something I think I'll rethink when I actually get to the like second version of it, the real version. So writing the file, one of the things I realized here I'm going to need to do with the file system buffer is this interrupt is also going to need to take code, but it'll have to take the name here as well, which is a string, which I'll rethink the stuff later. This really should be just a fixed byte array. Move this down. I like to order things for input, output, and then output as the final one here. I also will need to read the file at some point in time. So obviously the name isn't used in that one. Now I could do just like I have here, where there's like a boot program. Really what this is just something that says, it's like executing a layer up that says, hey, do this operation and then clear me, but then run this other thing. The game loader is almost the exact same setup. I could just make this kind of like a single like loader program or IO program rather that actually executes in the kind of intermediary that you can feed it to it, and then it actually just exits itself back to here once it's done. So how this could work is that the create game, when it gets this back, it actually pushes an application on the stack that would, or program on a stack that does the operation for writing the file. And then when that's all done, it would pop itself off, and what would happen is you would enter back into here with the data complete. So it's kind of like an awaiter program, not really a loader program. Because what I need to do otherwise is to do something where I save the write task, and then let's just play with that idea. Once a second. So wait is a program that does exactly that. So my promise type has to have a type that's above it. Because it doesn't really care about the type on it. All it cares about is whether it's done or not. Okay. Oh, I hate that. Okay. So exit program. That's all I do. And now really what maybe this exit should have is like a code. But I don't know how I would actually send that back. And draw, I think we would just keep with the loading for now. So then when we create the game, what we do here is we would run a program that goes new game menu, or sorry, new await. I'd still need to store the results of write file. So what's going to happen is this will finish executing. It'll come back up here. It's going to clear the name buffer break out of this whole thing and exit. Next loop or next frame, the loader run or the awaiter runs, and it completes, pops itself back out of the stack, and then I'm back right here in the update. So I'm not really gaining a whole lot by doing this, unless I can feed the await some sort of instruction as to what to do next, or give it a callback, which would kind of almost defeat the point of having the promise in the first place. But well, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, a promise, the whole point is to give it like a then, right? So that when it's done, it so I could do something like this. Then you get really nothing out of this. But where does this run? Yeah, this is getting all pretty confusing. I think I need to take a step back and ask, is this all worth it or not? And does await really give me much? Yeah, I don't. I mean, it will if I do this. And then I do, I actually exit out of the program anyways, before I run. So create game unloads. I then run a loader to write the file. The output gets pushed into there. I then run the load game, and I run the program like that. Still got to pass the whole promise in itself, which means I'd have to cast it to get the data out of it, which kind of stinks, but I don't think these terms are all right. I'm second guessing all my design decisions at this point. Oh, what the heck? Oh, that was an old... Gosh, I'm getting all confused. Hey, Scott, are you there right now? Yeah, looks like it. What's taking so long? Man, I'm overthinking everything. Not overthinking everything. I've got to, So I think what's going to happen is this is going to be my... This is going to be my prototype, where I figure out all the things I need to know about. This is purely just thought exercise at this point, and I'm going to go back around and actually write something. So create game, exits itself, runs the await program, which exits itself, and then it runs this, which loads the next game up and runs the program. Right. Now I think I can get rid of boot in the same way, because this is just the same thing. It's waiting for files to come in, and then it calls into the root menu with those files. So what that would look like here is, instead of that, it would say await. Yeah. And all of that game, or sorry, boot did when it got that was exit itself and then run program. And that will allow me to get rid of boot. Oh, interestingly enough, I need to do this operation too every time I create a new file, unless I send a signal back down. Yeah, I'm hating this more and more every time I look at it. I might just delete all of that and restart it. And not follow the paradigm where I want to do a... just make it synchronous. The problem with the synchronous stuff is that when I run the Python code in it, and it says, hey, give me a file, and it calls back out... Well, maybe that's not a bad idea. Yeah, this is just getting all messy. I think I know how this needs to operate, but it's... It would be a lot cleaner if I just pass in, instead of trying to go through this intermediary memory buffer, if I just actually provide a, you know, a, gosh. You know what? I'm this far. Screw it. We'll keep going for now. I don't think await is really the right term here either, but I can get rid of this guy. In theory, I can get rid of this one too. I believe. Oh, is it not being used anywhere? Or did I just not set it up? Okay, so this thing boots, gets to the root menu, draws out the menu, you make a selection, you can create a game or load a game. Okay, here's game loader. Oh, 1 second. Hey, what's up?
I don't eat anything. I'm telling you tomorrow, or someday, she'll tell me. But next time, she said maybe, Mr. Sauer's going to be my principal. Is going to be at my reading meet with Mrs. Meyer.
Okay, cool.
It's going to be kind of scary.
Oh, no, it won't be too scary. Hey, I got something to show you. Quick.
Okay.
Send. Okay. Here's your report. All positives.
Yay! That's good, right?
Yep, you got all your stuff in time. So, good job.
Today, I'm trying, after school, I have to get all my stuff from the...
Yep. Can you close the door, though, when you're done?
I have to go to the bathroom, then I'll get back on school.
All right, love you. All right. So this game loader is really just a... and I'm going to await Code Game. Then I run game menu. That. So this is really like awaiting is kind of like the driver code. And then this is what had happened afterwards, but Okay, so I think this is all correct now. Not exactly super great, but it's still as it should be. So I need to get the write and read operations working on this side of the world. And so this needs to really get files and just say current directory and just use FC as that for now. Get files. Select out the extension. Pop those in here and call it good. So for writing a file, I would fcmem get data at the index of the interrupt, which is I, and then I want to go for, oh no, this is just straight up the data, so it would be the interrupts. This comes in as a string at this point. X. And this should be 1. So there's the data that I need to write. So do file.write all text, path being just the name of the file plus the extension. So it would be interrupt name, file name. And then the data. I need to There's no data to return. Yes, that should all just work. Read all text from so those are all the actual file operations. So the file driver needs to then implement the other ones that I need to do. Read. This will take also this is optionally take the whole thing. Must take code. Should take string. Should take that as well for the writing. Need to get the bytes. I believe it's coding. ASCII get bytes. And then we need a write file, which is fairly similar in the way that it operates. Except for it just returns, or whatever. Except, oh no, I can just do that here. Or no, I will get data and then okay, sorry, what am I thinking here? I need to pass in a string array from that, so new string array. It's just so weird, I'm going in and out of strings for data. I need to just fix this at some point in time, but because that all should be data in there. This will resolve with just a byte of data. And I don't need to actually pull anything out. These could all be cleaned up. This is so ugly. But it's gonna get the job done, I think. So back to center myself around creating. I write the file, which is this operation here with no I run. Let's just see if it works. How about that? I'm gonna need to be able to see. All right, cool. Sequence contain. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've got to. Get the data, which means when I load up, create an interrupt, I pass in this data, but I'm not doing anything with it. So buffer index is equal to 0. Copy this in there before. Jeez, come on. All right. Oh. Look at all this. Let's see. Spelled wrong. Oh, still broken. Okay. You're passing Nolan? Oh, I am. It's empty. Empty array. Oh, hey. Created the file. It's pretty sweet. Not the file I wanted to be called, but so it should be in. Yeah, there it is. So I'm gonna delete that. I'm going to restart this, and instead of putting these in current directory, oh, you know what? That'll actually affect the name of it, though. Gotta leave that off for now, because I don't want to deal with that. All right, so
Just to let you know what you're kind of upstairs, that means I am like I'm doing school stuff upstairs because the
That's
thing
fine.
died. I have to plug it in, like charge for a while, so I'm going to do it upstairs.
sounds good. Love you. Let me know if you need help. Hey, perfect. Sweet. Escape brings me back to here. Oh, I haven't fired up exit yet. Or run. Or edit. Huh. But that's exactly what I wanted to see. Sweet. Okay. So the other thing is so if I've created it, okay, so let me get it back so I can actually get there. I wonder why none of these triggered when I got back to that main. That isn't being updated. Why isn't that being updated? It's because I returned back. So tab is 0, and this is 1, so that should work. Oh, tab index, I don't want that. I want menu. That would be why. But, yeah, okay. Loads up, and then I click edit, get the same thing, launches the browser. I hit escape. Run should do nothing. Exit brings me back here. Now the one thing that I do need to figure out is exit back, and obviously hello is not there because I need to reload the game names. So like I said, I need to make it so that if I create a game, interestingly enough, that didn't pop the browser like I'd expected to. And I did that. But it has to show back up in the menu here. So when I launch this now, obviously because it goes through that reload process, it knows about them. So this isn't something I was expecting. So it works initially because the boot, it goes to the fantasy console. When it powers on, it runs, executes, gets files, and then it will go and run the rest of this. But I think what I need to do is make it so that I have a initialize again that runs when it drops back or when it becomes the... Okay, so you push a program on, eventually you pop, and then the top of the stack is whatever state you left it in. I think I need to rerun init, or I can just make it so that no program... Well, it's nice because some programs can then push. They don't need to know who they're... so maybe like a resume or something like that. Like an on resume. I don't think a init is really the right... No, it might be. So in this case, the init would call into here, would recreate the menu based on the files. But it doesn't just need to do that, it needs to actually run and get the files. Which kind of tells me that the whole await thing is kind of silly here. So this really should be just new programs dot root menu sits in the files. It doesn't receive the files. Which means then that when this initializes, it would need to do that before creating the menu. Or I have the concept of like a subprogram, kind of like the await, but a little bit different. I think I could probably do that, where the idea is that I launch. So when I do run, it's not just I mean, it's launching it to do some operation, but then the idea is it's going to return the value. That would allow me to get rid of the idea of having to because I mean, you can return code up when you're done with the program, you know, a response code or whatever. So I could have like this. This doesn't actually receive a promise, or it does, but maybe it goes like this. Exit program optionally receives some sort of an object. Exit program will pop itself off. And then if there is just be passed through to it. This would pop, and if the program stack dot 0, so instead of nit, it would be something like resume, and it would be return param. Just be possibly null. Okay. So peeks it off, whatever's there as a resume. So on the root menu, which gets loaded up first, what would happen on init is that it would create so this is a promise. Then I would do sys program new await, and then I would give it the sys, and then wouldn't have Continuation action. That. And I would do something like this. A promise of a string array. Okay. So now when it pops, I would get that all good. But now I need to fix these other situations. So when I'm loading the game, the idea is to read the file. Which returns a byte array. Now it really doesn't make sense for me to do this resume type thing there, but my then is now gone, so maybe I was premature on getting rid of that. The other thing I could do is just get rid of the await entirely in terms of doing it like this and make this a function of the game menu. So to load the game menu, I need to have the game loaded, or that would be... So what I would do here is, instead of this, do sys run program game menu. And then I would do game file name like that. Should use records now that I can. For that. Or strong types. So then on load of game menu, the first step is to read the file. In the init. Gotta get more music off of YouTube's thing to stream. Okay, so that will... Oh, interestingly, a mode thing is going to get all hosed up then. Well, maybe not. I do save that. I just need to know that I'm resuming the first time. Or just unset it after I do it the first time, which would probably work. Okay, so we do that, and then we do zoom. Then we do sys.load game, file name with game data. Which is what we were doing back here. And then that goes away. This can get created anyways, so that's not a big deal. This, though, shouldn't run until after this is... Yeah. Where else is broken? All right, it's on the create now. It's almost like I should... The only subprogram this one would run is your weight, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal. At least right now. But when it's done with creating it, it will get back a promise of a byte. So this should be if brand is promise. So having these stronger types with these values would actually help here a lot. I don't need to do that. This indicates to me that the file is written, which then I need to do is sys.exit program, sys.run program, new game menu for, and I don't have the file name. It's like it's passed in here. Oh, well, there. I mean, this just gets passed in from name buffer to string up here. So I could just do like that again. And it feels gross, but maybe this should just return a string that actually has the name of the file that was written. Or I should really have like a file descriptor or something that gets returned. Anyways. And that will load it in. So if that's all working correctly, I should be able to come in here, create a game called Scoot. Boy, what did I do wrong? Oh, I clear it right here. So that's not going to work. You know what? I will change this to return the file name just to make it work. It's ugly but effective. I said I've got to rethink the whole relationship there. Oh, and then I renamed that already, probably. I think. Okay. Where am I at? Okay, so that's obviously not working. So I say create game with name. It goes out, it does it. I get the right file thing. I run await. It pops the program with here. I resume with this. Oh, I know what's the problem. So the draw down here actually uses the menu. Oh, the menu gets created, but the menu is using the active game name, which is null at this point in time. Because I haven't actually loaded it, so this actually does need to happen. On resume. I'm guessing what saved me on root menu is that the draw actually I'm not sure why that works. It's just so quick. I'm just gonna put some guards in here. Okay, so that's never completing. Oh, because I never run the await here. That's a lot. Sys.unprogram new await. It's entirely possible I don't need to await or do this down here, but okay. Oh. Did testing show up? So this doesn't work in Under, apparently. Oh, because when I'm creating the menu, man, I am all over the place, broken now. Version 2 will be way better. All right. So this works. This fails at loading. So something is not completing. And it's probably in the way that that file name gets transferred through. So the game menu gets launched with the file name, and that's being passed in with edit mode from create game. Yeah, this needs to be edit. So this exits, runs it, passes the result in, which is the file name. Game menu stores that off along with the mode. And it runs, grabs the game file name, creates a read file, runs the await. So let's try picking up there. So somehow I got back here. So I've written, I ran exit. Now I'm running into game. Alright, stuff's getting super complicated. I really am just, it's not, this await stuff is really just not working the way I want it to. Question is sunk cost. Do I just get rid of it all at this point and say, you know what? Let's go back to a simpler day where all I had to do was say, hey, give me the file list. It would just give it to me every time. I do like the resume. I think that's needed. But in terms of like passing it off to a sub-program to wait, letting that program run and then popping it, but not knowing necessarily what the result is. Like if you could call it in a natural way, I think that would be great, but I mean, I know there's a way to do that. Because I'm getting lost in the debugging now. Because game menu, should push this game data in, I get it back here, and this should happen. But it never does. So there's something in this read file that's not working. Yeah, this is getting silly complicated. I think it's about time to just undo basically everything I did today with file processing and just I'm going to save this as a commit, but I'm going to come back to I want these programs to be more readable, so this is going to go away. The root menu gets loaded. It's going to call that. It's the same thing. But it's not begin, it's refresh. This is get files, and this is straight up just there. Everything is much simplerly written. Interestingly enough, that's not breaking. That's kind of scary. Or it's not getting squigglies. Okay. That's probably because promise doesn't exist. So get files, dump all of that. Read file. It's going to return byte data. And this is going to return void supply. Don't need this now. Don't need coroutines. For now, the data, I'm not really going to use the file system buffer. Is going to end up being, I'm just going to remove it for now. I like the idea of it, but I'm just, the implementation sucks. Like, it's not, it sucks. I mean, it's tricky. And I just want to get beyond this point. But I do like the idea. I need to find a good way to, like, properly interrupt the execution flow and make this happen. So I totally get that. And I think file stuff is ubiquitous enough where I can just put it in here without feeling bad about it. we'll get rid of this buffer for now. Again, I still think I'd want to get it. Sorry, I'm checking. I've been waiting for an email. I'm just gonna check it quick. Okay. Let's get this all cleaned up. It's not that. Okay. So this was all being done to create a game, which should just be like this. Create a game with name. So it should be sys file system big file. New byte array. Totally just an empty file. Then run. It's, new, or sorry, main menu. Care about resuming on this because I don't resume. This will just be a. I need to make this a single command. So let's swap. Just FC that, that's it. So there's no resume. Perfect, simpler. So this is when I load the game menu. So this gives me the game data. I don't need to do this. I will just straight up game based off the data that I get. It's back in place. Slide this down. Go off the system active name. In fact, maybe I don't even need that anymore. Okay. Easy peasy. Pops that up, all good. Close that out, escape that. Edit, same thing. Run does nothing. Exit brings me back here. That's 3, it's there. I wonder if I should put some sort of standard order on this always. I want to get that shutdown working too. And I want to also hide this eventually. Actually, I might do that just for the sake of my own sanity for now. Alright. Let's get for the root menu. We will so this one is always that way. Same with this one for now. The other thing that I want to do, this pops back, is that if this exits, there's nothing there. So that should be a signal in here to say if you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did my mouth. Then I did this thing that I was supposed to do minutes ago, but I couldn't get that
Okay.
stuff done.
I'll be done shortly and come and check everything over with you.
I don't think we need checking.
Well, we'll try anyway.
That was just.
I know. We'll just check it. Okay. All right. So is running will be defined by if their program there's anything on the program stack. So in theory, this should work. Why didn't that pop up right away? Nope. Stack is empty. Oh, I see. Because this would close it. Program stack. Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's part of it. This to do. So, the interesting thing should be what happens when I get beyond the bounds of this array here with these games and stuff, but nope. That's because I need to put the extension on these. You'd probably use a path combine there versus doing this, but... And of course I'm duplicating a bunch, but... Okay. Don't need that anymore. Just delete all those. Alright, let's go again. From scratch. I mean, I could make it so that it actually launches that, keeps track of the executable process until, and when the executable process, it just automatically pops back to this. But I don't think I want to do that route. Run does nothing. Edit brings us back to that. Exit. Exits. I could also make it so that this is consistent, so the escape will return. I could put that on the bottom of all of these, so instead of having an exit explicitly here, it probably would be better to do that. So escape just kind of always brings you up the stack. I do have to figure out why that isn't launching. Okay. So. Okay. So we got the file stuff working in and out the way that I was expecting it to now, or wanted it to. That's all good. What is the next thing that we need to do? Let's get the run in there, maybe, or with like a default Python script to make sure that all works correctly. That's going to be an interesting one to do, because I am going to have to go back into that other thing to do it. But so the code here will actually contain, like in memory, will contain the entire Python script that the user has loaded in. That's what's going to get loaded in from the file. And then when you click run, it would actually execute that Python in a program, so it's like a runtime. And this should be able to pull it directly out of memory at this point, because it'll be stored as in the code buffer and the text or the whatever buffer. So these will just be calling into a Python script eventually. So the real, with maybe some code to handle, like when you press the escape key, be like, hey, do you really want to quit? The init here, what it will need to do is it'll need to deal with like a code API that then runs through our code driver. No, game driver, maybe. Let's just call it that. Code driver. And this is another one of those things where it would be really complicated to go back and forth between the so if I put the Python implementation here, like I need a port to get the code, so I can just take the code in, get back an interface to that code that then gives me the, or really not even the interface, like a it just needs the functions that I would be needing, but so yeah, it would be, I mean, effectively an interface. So like these are the things that it needs to implement. Oh, did I call it code driver? Shoot. You know what? Maybe I will name it game driver and move some of these functions about loading games into it. Because there is like load game here. It doesn't really do, I mean, the editor maybe. I want to rethink that a little bit, because this is all about running the program. Yeah. So this would be load, which loads it into memory, but what I really need is the code buffer. the sprite buffer. I'm getting to Python right now. Or at least I'm trying to. How's your day going? Getting any work done on your delivery app stuff? Oh, do I really want this here? You have two. I thought you were coming off your contracts. Maybe I'll just get all of them right here. Just for now. Mean. Which should have broken some stuff. So this doesn't need code anymore because it's got access to it. It should just be execute. Different name, base if I name that. So there's some assumption here that the game is already loaded at this point. I suppose, you know, it can check for that eventually and make sure there's an active game. But there should be in most cases. So now I need to get the Python stuff figured out. So the game driver needs to read. Okay, so I have to figure out the code buffer, which is literally just a string of data. Getting my manners. This is not a quite good way to do it, but this is really just a container for data with a name. It's almost like I just put the string right on the, just have it be a string right on the buffer, and just get rid of this class. Except for the fact that clear, and there might be some stuff I want to do here. You know what? Simplify, simplify, simplify. Let's just assume I don't need to get the data from that file yet. And in fact, I'm going to just do mem.codebuffer. And then just plop a Python program in here for now. Which I'm going to do like this because white space matters. So it's just, there's a pass, isn't there? Define. Valid Python program, right? Wrong version, but yeah. It's 32. Okay. Oh, they're using spaces, that's why. Instead of tabs. I think either work for Python though. Okay. Something like this. And this is where I go, do I really want to bring in the Python stuff here? Or do I want to call out through some other mechanism? Because I really want to provide a provider in here. But how do I pass that through is the question. Because I don't really provide anything to the fantasy consular. I guess I could just make this dependent on Python in here and just put it in there. That'd be the fastest thing for now. Yeah, you know what? I'll figure out how to keep this stuff X separate later. Move it here. And we will put it in here. Oh gosh. Look at the... Grab the whole thing. Create the scope. For now. We're just going to pass delegates in. So why not? This is kind of ugly. Kind of. Really ugly. I'm thinking it'll work for sure. These are come back as dynamic. I don't have a lot of familiarity with how dynamic works in this. Okay. If this all works, what should happen when I run a game is I should get a console log that says hello. So I'll switch this back to that. It's probably gonna blow up. Oh, look at that. Huh. There's your Python code right there. Although I have to make it so that I can send it in through a different editor. Or not an external editor or whatever, but that is what I wanted to see. Now the one thing that I need to figure out is how I pass variables into it so that I can get data back out. Just printing, obviously, to there isn't exactly what I want to see. I want to have like a... I need to provide an API into it. So it's like IronPython provide function. Did you write this, Scott? Functional programming, how to in IronPython. Okay. Passing, yeah, passing a kidney stone. Passing. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I might have to try a different way to access this stuff. This for Python number. Well, I'm just gonna try something dumb. See what happens. Hmm. So see what happens. No. Derp. Python. False is false. Literal false is false, like that. It's been a while since I've written Python. Let's do this, come on. Work. Ha ha ha. Yeah. So I could do there's probably a cleaner way of doing this, which I'm gonna have to figure out if anybody out there has IronPython experience. Sys.console here. there you go. That is running Python. Well, I think that's what I'm going to call it good for today. I think that's all. It's all pretty good progress. We'll probably take tonight off and not do any more streaming tonight. Is today Thursday? Yeah, so I might do some streaming in the morning, or I might potentially. Well, my son will be home, so we'll see how that goes. But I might just do some other videos and pick this up this weekend sometime, or later next week. That's probably not going to work. I bet that would have... Oh, you could use pretty much all sorts of file names. So here's where you would then bring this up, and I've got to design the API now to actually retrieve out the Python code here, and then, you know, modify it in the browser, which I want to use like something like, there's a couple browser-based text editors for code. Can't remember what that gets called right now. But then when I save it, it would push back into the browser. Or maybe I just have or I take the Python code from a file and spit it and push it in, and anyways, interact through the API. Go back here. You could probably, from the API, end the session, basically, which should then, could actually send a signal to do exactly this, and then you get it. Click run, and then your code actually starts to execute in here. And now, of course, there's no way to get out of it because I haven't implemented escape for this at all, but yeah. But I have to get all of this API stuff in here, and I think there's a way where I can just provide a single object into it and the definition, and then it can just do, you know, the code here could be like fc.clear or something like that. Or, I don't know. I have to think about this API. I'll probably go out and look at like Pico 8s or Pixel Vision 8s and just try to follow the same conventions in terms of how that is listed for basic functions that I currently support. So, but for now, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you all for watching. If you are not a subscriber and you stumble upon this stuff, please subscribe. I'm trying to build this out, so thank you. Have a good night. Let me figure out. Good.